that's a really powerful way. If you can let the software do the silent selling while you're delivering on the hook, it's kind of like a match made in heaven home run scenario.
Hello, and welcome to this first series of what I'm calling Ask a Pro. And if it's going to be any pro, it's got to be my buddy, Chase Buckner, Director of Marketing for Go HighLevel. So Chase, thanks for being here today. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I wanted to have Chase. So if you don't know, HighLevel, actually, let's start there, because hopefully we're getting people coming in who have never heard about either of us. They're learning about these different tools, features, and opportunities. So before we go anywhere and talk about, models and opportunity, who's
Sure.
Go HighLevel? What do you guys do?
So HighLevel, when I describe it, I typically do it in two thoughts. We started out on a mission to be the best all-in-one marketing toolkit. So, all the tools you need in one place, being able to build everything from forms and surveys to funnels to websites, plus the automation that goes behind it, plus reputation management built in, full CRM with, text message and social communications, basically everything you need to capture, nurture, close, evangelize, and reactivate. And so typically agency, and we build for marketing agencies, right? Not for the end businesses. So agencies typically come in and get all the tools they need, save a bunch of money because they're able to get rid of, ClickFunnels, ActiveCampaign, CallRail, all these tools, Zapier, all that kind of stuff in the process. The second mission is we're white label. So we want agencies to be able to white label the platform and then resell it to their customers as their own software. So essentially we are turning agencies into software providers in addition to the services that they offer.
Yeah. And I think that's a really key distinction too, because I think before, I don't know, there's a lot of softwares out there, but I'm pretty sure before HighLevel, you guys were the first ones to do this, where you effectively, just in dollars and cents, you have a fee, and that fee gets you unlimited sub accounts, which, a lot of people want the model of, hey, I'm going to make money at scale, so I'm going to give you this fee, but then every account you add or every user you add, we're going to take a per user fee, a per seat fee. You guys don't do that.
We don't do that. And we also don't charge by users in the system or contacts, which is annoying, right? So like we, at the agency I used to run, we used to use ActiveCampaign for our clients. And it was like, our job as marketers is to grow your client list, right? But every time you grow the list, ActiveCampaign charges you more because they charge per contacts, which feels like a kick in the nuts to a marketer, right? It's like, I'm doing a good job, and the better job I do for my clients, the more they have to pay for the software. And so, like you said, with HighLevel, you pay one fee, you get unlimited accounts, users, and contacts.
Yeah. Well, and I think you guys set the tone, because even like when you look at we basically, it's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. You get up to a particular fee and then it's unlimited accounts. Mm-hmm. And I think that we're incentivizing people. We're making it easier for them to really build value. But a lot of agencies, media buyers will charge by how much ad dollars that you're spending, right? And we don't do any of that. So you guys kind of set a precedent, and I think it was a good thing. And it really makes it, again, if you're small, intermediate, whatever you are, it gives you the opportunity to grow. And while you're growing, the biggest, your cash flow is key, right? Well, if you got to keep increasing your costs and you don't know what your costs are going to be, if you add this one person, we don't want that to be even a thought. So you guys, again, set the tone. We kind of are following suit, and that's awesome. I wanted to today, again, UpHex, we get a lot of users, people that are, utilizing Go HighLevel and UpHex together to do really cool automations. Run lead generation campaigns and nurture them on the back end with HighLevel. It's a 1-2 combo that is amazing. The question that I keep getting over and over and over again is, what's the offer? What's the model? How do I, what does my value ladder look like? And what's working best in SaaS? So, and I think this is SaaS in particular. Okay. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I remember something my dad, when I was 14 or 15, he told me, Sam, when you sell to the masses, you live with the classes. And if you sell to the classes, you live with the masses. And so I like always remembered that. Now, my dad's not a marketer. He's a smart guy. He's a chemical engineer though. Right. And it's funny because I kind of let that thought, maybe stop me a little bit, because the most important other phrase that I learned later on in my career was the riches are in the niches. Okay. Now, these two things kind of contradict, but they also kind of don't. They marry up together. And so I think finding your model, finding your approach is really important. Anyway, so who better to talk about what other SaaS agencies are doing than a person like you who has a bird's eye view? So let me just open it up very broad. Okay.
Sure.
In your opinion, Chase Buckner is going out today and he's starting his own SaaS agency. What does the model look like? Your opening offer, and then what are some of the things that you're, extending your lifetime value with?
Totally. Before I answer that question, I would actually backtrack a little, because we're already assuming somebody's decided to start a SaaS agency.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's typically what happens, although it should be what happens. And I think what typically happens from my experience and what we see with our customers is the journey usually goes like this. You probably have a job, but you're a techie kind of person. And you get good at something because you like it. Maybe it's building websites, maybe it's SEO, maybe it's running ads, maybe it's social media.
Right.
And then friends, you're helping them out. Maybe you're charging some money and you're like, man, maybe I can make a go at this, right? Like maybe I could actually make a business out of this. So you try to get a couple more clients, go for this. I'm gonna quit my job. I'm making like $5,000 a month right now from these side clients. If I quit my job, I'll have more time to focus on it and I can make a real run at this thing. So you make the jump, you get some more clients, and then you hit the wall of 10K a month and you're like, shoot, man, this is getting overwhelming. I'm gonna have to hire somebody to help me out. Can I afford to hire somebody? And now you're at the scaling problem, right? You figure that out, you get to 80,000 a month, 100,000 a month, and now you're $1 million agency. And you realize, man, this is a grind. The churn rate on these service clients is horrible. It's like every month we gain clients, but we lose some. And it's like this roller coaster ride to get to that 7-figure mark. And then the agencies that get there start to figure out, man, software has such a better churn rate than services.
Yeah.
And so agencies start figuring out, like, should we build our own software? And unfortunately, some agencies actually try to do it and they lose a ton of money in the process. And some agencies get smart and find solutions like HighLevel that you can white label. So hopefully there's a lesson in there somewhere, which is if you're early in the journey, understand from the gate that the churn rate on software across all industries is like sub 5%. The churn rate on services is above 60%. So, think about that when you're charting your future.
It's hilarious you say that, by the way, because that was I'm thinking that's exactly what happened to me. And we lucked out because UpHex happened to be a tool that complements what you guys have done. And I think it's so funny because I'm like, oh yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that. Yeah, we did that. And then we built the software.
Built software, right? And I'm sure it cost you more than you thought it would. And,
oh boy.
But you're making it work. And so, I don't think agencies have a realistic understanding of how much it costs to build and maintain software. No. Most of them fail in the venture and look back on it as a gigantic waste of money.
Yeah. And it's funny because when we were in Mexico, you said, oh, I would, after my I think your retirement plan is just to go and do your own white label software of.
So back to your question. Yeah, I think this is the way I would answer your original question is if I were starting again, I would get a pro account with HighLevel. because then I'm immediately a software company, right? I can immediately start selling a set of automated features that I know every business needs, which is two-way SMS with a web chat widget on the site, consolidated communication stream, so I can give them an app where they can send and reply to emails, text messages, Facebook messages, Instagram DMs, Google reviews, Facebook reviews, WhatsApps, and soon to be more, right? We're working on TikTok integrations, we're working on all sorts of cool stuff. So I can also provide a missed call text back. So anytime someone calls your number and you guys don't answer, we're going to fire a text message back that says, sorry, we missed your call. How can we help? I'm also going to provide them things from my wheelhouse. So I am going to sell websites because I know how to do that. But I'm going to sell them in the new age model, which is not one price. It's a website on demand, costs monthly. If you stop paying for it, it disappears. Because again, SaaS is the way, not projects or service-based revenue. So that's exactly how I would do it. And then I would say, oh, you're interested in SEO, because your clients are going to always ask you for more. Oh, I know a handful of great SEO folks. Oh, you want ads? I know a handful of great ad folks I can introduce you to. And in that sense, I call the model the digital general contractor, right? When someone's building a building, they bring in a general contractor who then brings in the plumbers and the electricians and all the different folks. And if the plumber's terrible or something goes wrong, then they just replace them. But the general contractor, doesn't get fired. And so what I love about UpHex is it would enable me to offer ads as a service without having to be the person responsible for them. And I think there's a very interesting flip there, because this is a whole nother discussion, but whoever run the ads is the first on the chopping block. And so I think every business wants Facebook ads, but you do not want to be the one providing that as a service. I can tell you that. And I think UpHex gives you the best of both scenarios there. So that's the model I would go with.
So to summarize, you'd go in and your core service, I think your core service you said would be, you have all these features, but you'd want to lead with the website.
It's an interesting question. Would I lead with the software or would I lead with the website? I would probably lead with the software with an option of, do you also need a website?
Yeah. The challenge that every business owner has is like the initial hook, right? And I always say, like, if you're small, if you are brand new, in fact, I have it written on my whiteboard over there. I was writing down just a couple of little hooks, and you have an advantage when you're small because you don't have any distractions. You don't have anybody to look over. You don't have like the day-to-day distractions that keep people from growing once they have a couple customers. So
yeah.
You also have the ability to get granular. Okay. Meaning, hey, Chase, I saw on your website that blah, 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 whatever. Or, hey, Chase, I noticed your Google reviews. Somebody responded with this comment. Right. And I get like super granular. Now, back in the day, when I first started my mortgage company, and I tell this story, I'll be brief. I tell the story all the time. Mm-hmm. I got into doing as a loan originator when I was 26. And I got in because all my friends and all these people in real estate were like, oh man, we'll send you all of our deals. Don't worry, we'll send you all. Okay, cool. I mean, I don't got to get any deals. So I walk in and I get licensed, all that kind of stuff, and go back to my friends. I'm like, hey, start sending me some deals. Let's rock and roll. And they're like, oh, we'll send you some when we get some. How are you doing with this? How are you doing with that? Well, long story short, nobody was sending me anything. And here I am, 26. I got a baby on the way. I quit my job. I was working as a teller. It was a great job, teller at Wells Fargo Bank. And, but it was some money. And sure. So I had no income. And I'm thinking, crap, dude, I got to figure something out. And so one day, and my branch manager was like, you just got to go into real estate agents' offices, this, that, and the other. So one day I'm sitting in the lobby of the Century 21 and I grab one of those real estate books. I'm like like thumbing through the book here. I'm like, oh, that person would never send me business. That person would never send me business. And then I get to this person and I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. First time home buyers, like that's like my age, that's my demographic. I would probably do well with that person. Then I go to the next page. Then I'm like, oh, Christina McNeil. She speaks Spanish, works with first time home buyers. I speak Spanish. I'm really good. And I missed a part of the story. I spent a lot of time just like researching the best products for first time home buyers. So I call her up and I'm like, hey, Christina, I noticed that, well, first of all, it's nice to meet you. I noticed that you work with a lot of first time home buyers and in the Hispanic community. Is that right? Yes. Boom. I'm already showing that I've done my research and that I'm talking about her business. So this conversation is now around her. We're kind of going into how to get clients conversation, but I think it's important for where you were kind of going with, what you would lead with.
Well, I'll actually flip this conversation because I suck at that type of selling, right? Prospecting and closing. And so I'm not a sales guy. And so I would never do what you're describing just because it's not in me. And I know that that's a great way to get business, right? The way that I would do it would actually be the opposite. And here's what I would do. I would not quit my teller job until I could afford it. And to get me to that point, I would pick a niche that's in my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And I would start creating content. And so what I would do is I would set up my site, my landing page ready to go. And I would just start making videos. And I would, every day after work, I would spend 20 minutes. I'd throw on my screen record and I would say, this is honestly what I would do. Throughout my normal day, I would make a note of something that stood out to me from some business, right? Maybe I saw a great website. Maybe I saw a terrible website. Maybe I saw a great ad on a bus. Maybe I saw a terrible ad on a bus. Maybe I saw a crappy billboard. Maybe I saw whatever. And I would make a note. After work, I'd sit down, I'd throw on my screen record and be like, all right, today's update. I was walking down the street and I saw the worst billboard I've ever seen in my entire life. Why? Here's a picture of the billboard I saw. It sucks for this reason, blah, blah, blah. There's no call to action. You need to take somebody, if you're going to do physical advertising, you need to take somebody into a digital lead capture scenario, right? Here's how I'd fix it. You describe the fix, and that fix naturally would lead back to my software. Everything I would talk about in every video would naturally lead back to the fact that you need software in order to execute the free advice I'm giving you. And if you're going to use software, you might as well use mine. So I would sell without selling. And if you do that day after day, you build an audience and you become this authority in your niche, and people will just sign up for your software by default.
Identify a current problem, show how you would fix it. The solution is your tool.
You mentioned it before we hit record, right? You give away the education, the information, you give away the answer. Yeah. Knowing that you can't actually execute on that without the help of a tool.
Yeah. I think many times, I think I also, in our interview, I think I said, it's all about finding the thing that sells the thing. And this is what you're saying, right? And not so many words. The biggest mistake, and we're kind of straying a little bit from the model conversation. I'll get us back, I promise. But I think it is important, right? Because the fundamental problem that you as an entrepreneur have in your business, the first thing is attention to marketing. You got to start there. You're not just going to walk into, unless you're buying a business, you're not just going to walk into clients. That's not how it works, right? But everybody makes this huge mistake. We're all egocentric, meaning we look inward. Chase is incredibly excited about Go High Level, right? And so when he talks to somebody, he'll be tempted to start talking about Go High Level. I'm incredibly excited about UpHex and Go High Level. I'll start talking about those things. But the problem is, the only person I'm getting excited about those things is me. Okay. You always have to start with the person, whoever your prospect is, and you say, it looks to me like you're looking for an easier way to acquire X result. Okay. Have you ever tried this? Right? Or did you know that most people try running ads and try running this, but they never stop and figure out that before you do that, unless you have a proven offer, it won't work. Here's a couple offers you might try.
Well, that goes back to the importance in my mind of picking a niche. Because once you do, you learn the ins and outs, you know exactly the things that they need and where typically businesses fall short, right? So let's say you pick restaurants. You know, you're going to know already that restaurants have a really hard time filling seats during, you know, between lunch and dinner, especially on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So in the content that I would create, I would constantly be addressing and saying things like, we all know it's really hard to get people in between 2 and 5 on a Tuesday. Here's an incredible example I saw of a restaurant doing this well through this strategy the other day. And I'd talk it through. I'd mention, you know, the fact that they're using software. And again, it would all drive back. But what I think is important to note is that the terrible way to do this is what we see all the time. Gurus charging you for the information and leaving it up to you to find the tools that'll actually enable you to execute. I hate that model, right? They charge for the information and then you're left stranded of like, well, yeah, that like, of course, but how do I actually do it? And so that's why I like the reverse model. Give the answers away for free and then sell the thing that can actually get it done.
And I think this part of our dialogue applies directly to the model that you choose. See that? I brought it back. Watch this. Okay. Because where you start and where you end are all part of you. Your personality, my personality are completely different.
Totally.
Okay. And so I would the same way I did, I would approach somebody directly and I'd say, I have a very specific solution to help you, get more of those buyers. In that case, get more of those buyers approved. If you're interested, I'll work for free effectively is what I'm saying. Right. Mm-hmm. And that is to me, a very proactive way to do that. But I might do what you're doing as well. Right. I might tag team it and I might say, in fact, I did this yesterday. It's funny that you say this. I sent out an email to my list and I told them my 2 top performing offers for the month of, what month is this? August. For the month of August. I said, these are the top 2 performing offers. And I showed them the ad copy. I showed them the offer. I showed them the video. I showed them why it worked. I showed them everything. I just gave it away. Like, this is the thing that a lot of agencies are very protective of. But for me, I'm like, and I even said in the email, check this out. I said, you can swipe this and use it as I put it here. I don't care. Or you can have us do it, in 3 clicks. I got like a bunch of demo calls that my team is now going to take care of only because I'm letting go of the idea that I need to have a closed mind and like hoard. And I'm more open to just saying, hey, we're winning. I want to show you how to win. This is how you'd win. Try this offer. Just try. And by the way, if they did try it and they did win without me, I wouldn't care. I really wouldn't. I'd be like,
100%.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly.
Now, I would also, in truth, do direct selling like you're talking about, but I would do it. I would try to automate it and I would do it through ads. And so I would, because I know with 99% certainty that any business I interact with is falling short when it comes to modern marketing and the things that HighLevel can do for a business. So I would probably run some creative ads that are like a bet, where it's like, let's say I pick the niche of dentists. I'm running ads that says, hey, dental shop owner, whatever you call them.
Dental shop, dentist.
I know for 99% certainty that you are falling short in today's world of marketing or whatever. And I'll bet you $100, $500, whatever it is, that you are. And I would drive them to a form where they would, put in their practice information, and I would have my checklist ready to go or whatever. And, I would basically make them a bet, and I would say, tell me who you are. And I'd go to their site and I'd run down my checklist. Do they have a chat widget on there that that's SMS? Probably not. Do they have Google Business Profile chat turned on? I know that they don't. If I call them and hang up, am I going to get a text message right back? I know that I won't, So I'll check all those things off, and then I go back and I'd say, sorry, Dr. Bob, but you lose. I don't owe you $500, but guess what? Here's, where you failed. These are the things that you need to fix. Our software, by the way, solves all those things, whether you work with us or not. You should go get those things taken care of. And that's how I would approach it from that side of things. And I'm pretty sure that would go pretty well for me as far as lead gen.
I'm interested in I don't know the exact number. I think it's 66%. Maybe you know this. In terms and what I'm saying is you have, that would be your hook, and that would be a good hook, by the way. I think that would work very well. Sure. I would probably go with the one review. It's like, hey, did you know that 66% of the people who see your ads check you out on reviews, check out your Google reviews, right? And I'm pretty sure that is the number. Maybe somebody will fact check me. I don't know, but I would throw out, and that's from Chet Holmes. That's education-based marketing, right? Did you know that 66% of the people check you out on reviews? The question is, how many reviews do you have? If it's less than 100, we might have problems, and you might be bleeding money unnecessarily. If you'd like to see how to get more than this and how we can do it for free, reach out to me here. Okay.
100%. And I think what's interesting, especially with HighLevel, because we do so many things, there are so many angles to pick a hook. And reputation management is a great one, because statistically, most businesses suck at it, don't have a ton of reviews, aren't generating them fast enough. And that's an easy solution to solve. What's been really fascinating to me is to see interesting new hooks that I would have never thought of. And I'll give you an example. Matt DeSeno's community does an interesting hook especially for home service industries. Yeah. Where they're on the job a lot. And so they really suck at answering phone calls and dealing with calls and stuff on the go. And they basically say, hey, what if we could turn all of your phone calls into text messages? And that resonates with that industry really well, because I guess nowadays, so many of the calls that you get are spam and BS, and it's such a waste of time. And when you're answering a spam call, you're missing a real lead call and all this kind of stuff. So all they do is set up HighLevel with the missed call text back to basically send every incoming call straight to voicemail, text them back, and then the people that reply, are real leads. And so it's this, wow, really, that one little feature is really what gets them excited, and they're going nuts with it. So there's a million different angles for your hook. And I would probably test them all, right? I would build a landing page that addresses each different one, and I'd run ads to each different one and see which one performs best, because it varies per industry, right? Some industries, you know what I mean? And again, that just goes back to niching. You pick a niche, you figure out what hook works best, and then you double down.
Well, I think we've given people a lot of interesting things to consider. Creating your own offers, whether it's your beginning or your end service, like high ticket stuff, because I do think you should have a value ladder. It is nuanced to the person and to the niche, right? Totally. But I think, maybe I'll try and list a list in the description on the YouTube video. Maybe I'll try and list all of the SaaS features that are available, because you got database reactivation with all that cool stuff. You've got text callback. You've got, GMB chat. You've got, there's so many things that people can lead with, and knowing which one of those, you can test them all, but knowing which one of those is largely based on who you're serving, right?
Well, then the other really interesting thing with HighLevel is what a lot of folks do is sort of, it's not a bait and switch, but I don't whatever your hook is, it typically takes a little bit of time. So you hook them with the hook, and while you're running that trial or that experiment or that bet or whatever it is, you just install the automated stuff from HighLevel. So by the time you come back around to the promise, they're already thrilled, because it's We just got like 20 chats that came in from Google. We didn't even know Google had chat. And it's like, yeah, isn't that awesome? We activated the Google chat for you, as well as, you know, the review. Oh, you're seeing reviews coming. Yeah. We also, you know, activated the Google and Facebook reviews. And so at that point, they're already like psyched. Like, we didn't even know this stuff was possible. And oh, and now you're telling me that you generated us 30 new reviews. That's awesome too. So I think that's a really powerful way. If you can let the software do the silent selling while you're delivering on the hook, it's kind of like a match made in heaven home run scenario.
Yeah, I love it. I guess I will make one final observation and then I'll give you the final word here.
Cool.
One thing, when we talk about value ladder, I think there's a lot of different places where people, and if you're using UpHex, a lot of people are starting with that lead generation automation, because it's like, hey, what would you rather? An agency that overpromises and under delivers, is hard to get a hold of, or a piece of software that does better in 3 clicks, right? And that hook is dynamite. I mean, crushing it. Okay. Force ads at 35 customers during his 2-week trial. Okay. It works. But I think that the key that you need to understand, like the foundational point of picking your model, is the further away from the revenue you are, the less you charge. Okay. The closer to the revenue, the closer to the point of sale, the more you can charge. So if I'm getting just leads, I can only charge a certain amount. If I'm adapting that and adding other, like, you know, chat bots, scheduling bots, whatever, I think we have out of the box, HighLevel appointment bot on our agency. And we just put that on there. But that gets them out of the lead phase into the booked phase, right?
It's exactly where I was going to go, because that would be my value ladder, right? I would say, hey, you know, we got you set up on our lowest plan. We've got, you know, I see leads are coming in off Google and off the chat widget that we set up for you. And, you know, your Facebook ad campaign is generating leads and stuff. But can we talk about these response times? Look at this. It took you, you know, here's a chat that came in and it took you guys 9 hours to reply, 2 days on this lead. And I guarantee you that's what it will look like when you go look. This is terrible, guys. Statistically, you need to engage a lead within 5 minutes or you're never going to close it. So let's talk about getting you up to our $497 plan, where we will actually take these leads and turn them into bookings for you, because that's what you really want, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, but you know, we use this scheduler and it doesn't integrate with anything, and and then you say, no, but listen to me. Do you want to close these leads or not? Yes. Okay. For $497, we'll set up our online scheduling and we will automate these leads into bookings on this calendar for you. And then you guys know what to do from there, right? And typically they're like, oh, if you can get people showing up at a scheduled time for our promotional first visit or whatever, let's say they're a chiropractor, they all do like a $50 first visit or whatever. Yeah. You get them showing up at a scheduled time, take my money, right? And so that would be the first step on my ladder is, hey, you're loving the leads, but you guys suck at following up with them. Let me take care of that problem for you. And then after I get them rocking with online scheduling, I take it to the next level as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Hey, well, I really appreciate you being here. The two tools combined together, I mean, HighLevel has been a huge opportunity for UpHex for me personally. We used HighLevel in UpHex's infancy before it was ever really big. And as we were building it, we're like, oh, we got to build to integrate with this thing. Like this thing is cool. Like this thing is really cool. And anytime somebody sees HighLevel, they're thinking, wait, really? Like I get all of that for that price? And so thank you for coming. Thank you, the entire UpHex, the entire HighLevel, you know, team, for inspiring what I think is a transition into how, you know, companies like HighLevel, these SaaS companies, how they operate. It's really like you guys are helping agencies scale, become more durable, more scalable, more sticky, okay, and have an actual business. There's nothing more frustrating as an entrepreneur when you get into whatever space you want to call this, lead generation, add whatever agency space we're in, and to realize the churn should be of concern. It is a hard thing to deal with, and you guys have solved that problem. So thank you for coming and sharing your insight. And
Thanks for having me.
yeah, buddy, appreciate it.
100%. I think, we're big fans of what you're doing because it really is a match made in heaven, right? Like, make running ads more simple, allow your clients to run them themselves, but have some automation tied to it so that they don't shoot themselves in the foot. Going back to the conversation we were just having.
Yeah, awesome. All right, Chase, appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.